In class today, we talked about how to distribute in combined like terms. When you're simplifying expressions or even equations, the first thing you always want to check for is the distributive property. Is there a set of parentheses with a number on the outside? If so, you need to distribute that number or multiply that number from the outside to every piece on the inside of the parentheses. If there are like terms, and like terms mean they either have the same letter or there's no letter at all, then you have to combine them, which means you add or subtract. So I'm just going to go down the left column, which are the odds, and I am going to take a look. I got a negative 10b and a positive 1b. Since they are like terms, negative 10b plus 1b gives me negative 9b because I did negative 10 plus 1. In number 3, I see that I have a positive 5v and a positive 1v. If I combine like terms, I do 5 plus 1 and get 6v. The 1 does not have a match, and since it's a positive 1, that means I put a plus 1 there. In number 5, 5k and 7k are like terms. So I just go ahead and add the coefficients, and I get 5 plus 7, which is 12. Attach the letter, which is k. If I do one of the more complicated ones, such as number 4, I notice that I have a negative 7n and a positive 10n. When I go to put that in my calculator, I do negative 7 plus 10, and I get 3. The same letter drops. And then I look at my other two numbers. Both of those do not have letters. Those are called constants. And I put that in my calculator, negative 7 minus 8, which is a negative 15. Notice how that negative sign also took on the minus sign. If I look at 7 through 12, that's just the distributive property. And when you distribute, you take the number on the outside and you rainbow that number to both pieces on the inside. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times 10 is a positive 80. In number 9, if I distribute this negative 5, it's negative 5 times a negative 7, which is a positive 35, and a negative 5 times a positive 7n, which is a negative 35n. When distributing, do not just put the sign that falls in the parentheses down into your answer. Okay? This minus sign comes from multiplying negative 5 times 7n and getting a negative 35. This positive sign comes from multiplying it 8 by 10 and getting a positive 80. If you notice number 11, there's no number out in front. There's just a negative sign, which means I insert that negative 1. And when I distribute, I do negative 1 times positive 1, which is negative 1, and negative 1 times a negative 5x, which is a positive 5x. This is a good example as to when you do not drop down the sign within the parenthesis, because if I did that, that would say I would have a minus there. However, I need the plus sign.